Now, if I had bent him in to the left and canter to the right, he wouldn't have been able to hold it because he doesn't have the muscling from his right hind and his top line to do that kind of demonstrative a la dressage score canter. So again, we're using the upcoming dressage movements that he hasn't reached yet as exercises and not a competition look score that comes later on. Now I'm trying to have him come through from behind, from canter to walk. I kind of like put my hands out to the side. I have some weight behind him so he can lean a little bit above the vertical towards my hand, and he feels that security again, like a ballerina holding the bar. But I don't take, because if you take, now they're going to drop on the forehand, and you're going to have 500 pounds of canter in your hands, and they're not going to step into the walk from the canter. It's from behind. Now we're back in the jump arena to get him out of that dressage-like thing so he can feel more. He's getting a little tired now, and he's more relaxed, and he did really well on his first cantering through one entire corner that's about, 25 meters wide, that arena. For his first canter off his weakest right hind. And a big reward, again, I said in the first podcast, is if a horse tries hard, gives them a huge praise. I put Clyde on him, or I do something really simple, or I go to a huge field where they don't feel like they're in a sardine can or an anchovy can. Because later on you can put a thoroughbred into a tuna can and they're not going to care. But right now we're building the building. Here's just a nice medium trot, and where I'm going with this in the next few weeks is a real pretty hunter hack trot, which I want to have him self-balanced and not necessarily on the bit, but more of a hunter hack, and then the bascule, and he'll be stretching and lowering his head more, and there's going to be even more suspension. But to get it there, I'm just encouraging him with the simplest of aids, and there he's trying to reach towards my hands. Now, I didn't do anything with my hands. All I did was keep him balanced, and now he's balancing himself, and that's muscle memory. As he goes up and down, it's because he gets his balance and then he loses his balance. But you have to stay the same, and you have to try as the rider to stay straight. Even if the horse isn't straight, it's very important that you stay straight. If they can feel a fly on their back, imagine how much you being crooked or off to one side is. So you'll see me once in a while. He'll need his neck off to the right a little bit to support his right hind again, especially if we're going to the left like we're doing. But that'll go away, and probably by the next podcast you won't see very much of that. And again, you keep it simple and light. But when the horse needs you, you have to be there. And this is a great barometer showing me, well, how much did I work the horse? With gadgets on, you don't know how much, because your horse's head's set and all this and that. This is, if I work the horse too much, he's going to be falling all apart. And too much lactic acid buildup. Here he's fluffy and reaching and relaxed. And I'm really trying to make circles just by weight of my stirrup, and maybe closing my outside hand and looking the direction I'm going to be going. And using my seat, you'll see I'm late coming out. Because each time I'm late, I'm going to try to bring that back up for more suspension. And I'll almost slap my seat on the saddle, asking him just for a little nanosecond to land that hind leg a little bit longer on the ground. Because eventually, a year or two from now, that's going to be your passage and piaffe. And they have to get that feeling just as much as the canter. It's a feeling to suspend for the passage your shoulder and your foreleg in the air. And suspend, same thing between, somewhere around 4 feet and 5 feet. A horse is really suspending over the jump. There's like a time gap there. And when they first feel that, it's a new feeling. And a lot of times they'll go, well, I'm kind of hang gliding up here. You can hear them thinking. After they get used to the feeling, it's no big deal. But as long as you don't overface a horse with new feelings all at once, especially a horse like this, they're going to want to do it over and over and over again. And then they get used to the feeling. And once a thoroughbred understands what the feeling is, just like the starting gate at the track, and they've been brought along properly, and they're not scared. Many times I've gone to races, and other horses are flipping in the gate, and my horse is just standing there calmly, waiting for whatever is going to go on, because they have confidence. It's the same thing with jumpers, same thing with the upper level of dressage. So when they have that feeling, now we're the past few rides really studying, because I want him to be able to go in the next couple weeks from medium on the bit to on the buckle. Any given time, whether he's on the muscle or not. So I'm slowly stretching his top line, so eventually he's going to be like way down there. Now you can see his forearm reaching. And he couldn't have done that 30 days ago. First of all, he didn't have the push off from behind. Second of all, he didn't have his stretch in his back up pumping, so he could reach over the ground and step underneath himself, so he could use his shoulder and he could use his forearm. The stronger he comes from behind and has that suspension, the more he's going to have his shoulder and his forearm, and the further the haunches will drop. The further the haunches will drop, the more the front end will be free, and the more the horse will go on the bit, as the pretty pictures in the book. Right now, he's just getting there. He's just getting strong enough. So he'll go up, and he'll go, oh, I need some balance from the rider. And now, oh, now I feel good. Now I'm going to stretch out, and I'm balancing myself. And you'll notice his hind legs, as the more he relaxes his back, the deeper and further the hind legs step underneath. Which in your first podcast, you'll see they were about 3 inches of stepping underneath. So his top line and his bottom line are getting stronger. I know a lot of people talk about the top line, but don't forget there's a bottom line too. No pun intended. And they work together, and that back needs both. It's the bridge. It's the Golden Gate Bridge. Now you can see him open up and open up. And in a few weeks, I'll be able to have that on a 20-meter circle.